himself up is by helping to lift someone else. Booker T. Washington. Welcome. Now, the one thing I will start by saying before officially beginning the program is we apologize. We thought this room was going to be so small that we would not need enunciation of sound, but at this point I knew that it was going to be so talkative, so we're going to try to get through the next 15 minutes if we can assure that we can listen in, and we're going to talk loudly in our loud voice, which I hope that everyone will be able to listen in. So, Spirit Song is, I'm going to change this piece of poetry to read Spirit House. It was written as a part of the Spirit Song 2012 by Matthew Brown, and I thought it was officially a great way to actually welcome you to the Spirit House rededication ceremony. Greetings, my name is M. Chernell Smith, and I have the pleasure of being a part of the Spirit family as one of the advisors for Spirit. And I say that as one of the advisors because when it comes to Spirit, there's a lot of family of advising that comes not just for those who are currently here at Carnegie Mellon, but through the legacies of, and the living legacies of many in this room and many who would have wanted to be here today, but we hope will be there in the spring at our spring carnival, because we will continue to celebrate Spirit and Spirit House. So, Spirit Song is, Spirit House is, the autobiography of you and I, building bridges between then and now. Spirit Song House is our voice, our words, our air that breathes life into tomorrow, as we exhale the memories of what was. Spirit Song, Spirit House is Martin's dreams, Rosa's seat, Jesse's baton, Harriet's trail, Langston's words, Duke's horns, Billy's song, Malcolm's speech, Muhammad's fight, four little girls, Aretha's soul, Jordan's passion, Barack's change. Spirit Song, Spirit House is not only the march for freedom, but also the race beyond it. Spirit Song, Spirit House is not only the impact moments of time, but also the path we walk every single day. Spirit Song, Spirit House is your story, my story, your struggles, my struggles, your joy, my joy, your freedom, my freedom. Spirit Song, Spirit House is the unlocking of our hearts and minds, setting our souls to roam the pages that come to follow. Spirit Song, Spirit House is. Welcome. So we really truly only have a small program today, but a very important one for today. At this time, I'm going to invite Catherine Madoa, College of Engineering, Material Science and Engineering student, and the current president of Spirit, to come forward. She will be followed by Mr. John Hannon, Associate Vice President of Student Affairs for Community Living. And I'm going to ask Catherine to come forward, and John will follow. Thank you. Woo!
Let's go, Catherine!
Good evening, everyone. Today is a beautiful day. We celebrate our connection to our roots and the ever-growing potential of our present and future. Today has twofold importance to me. First, because of the revival of the original Spirit House, and second, and I think more importantly, in the coming together of Spirit and her allies. I'll start with the second point. In a way, it's strange. We, the current students, are to an extent on display as the tangible human manifestation of where Spirit has grown and changed over time. And yet, this is a timeless moment in which the past and the present converge for a common purpose, united in who we are, united in what this means. We are Spirit. We are learners, we are dreamers, we are institutional minorities, and we are together. And this house, this makeshift home, is our anchor on this campus and beyond. Even when we're apart, distance and time having pulled us far, there it is to remind us and to remind anyone who walks by that we are here, we exist, and we will continue to stand strong and tall now and into the future. It is our real, visible, touchable mark. Now, the transition back into this space has come with its own challenges and growing pains, a space unoccupied filling with life once again. But therein lies the core of what makes this special. We're here to celebrate the renewal of a building imbued with inherent purpose reflected from the organization it houses. A purpose to be our space, our corner, our stronghold, and our reminder. Today, in my mind, we celebrate us and the house, the constant, albeit somewhat discontinuous character and set, holding the story of it all. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this moment. Thank you, Student Affairs and Housing, for the work done to bring us back into the house and the conversations that continued after to help make it a home. Thank you, alumni, for coming back and sharing in this moment. Thank you, Spirit, current people, for showing out and being fabulous. And thank you, of course, Ms. Chernell, for being our advocate and our rock throughout this transition. I look forward with great excitement to this new phase of Spirit and its home. So I encourage everyone, please mingle, ask questions, embrace this moment, because it's a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it absolutely is a beautiful day, and I'm so thrilled to be here for this rededication. As Chanel said, my name is John Hannon. I serve as Associate Vice President of Student Affairs for Community Life. I'm standing in today for Tom Cooley, our Executive Director of Housing Services, who's out of town with his family and couldn't be here. But I wanted to offer a few remarks and thank yous related to the actual renovation project, which has been a labor of love over the course of the past several years for a number of people who've been invested in getting the Spirit community back into the original house. So I joined the Carnegie Mellon community in 1994, working in the Residence Life Office, and I needed to be on campus for all of about 2 minutes to understand and appreciate just how important Spirit House is to the fabric of community living on our campus. Over the years, since I joined the Carnegie Mellon family, we've made a number of different attempts at creating different theme houses and special interest houses, and none have had the staying power that Spirit House has. And that is attributable to a group of incredibly enthusiastic students and residents over the years, very engaged alumni and advisors who worked tirelessly to help keep the organization strong, many of whom are obviously here today. So it was with a really heavy heart that I learned in 2008 from our partners in Housing Services that an engineering study had been done, and it suggested that the foundation, the bones of the house were in a very bad state of disrepair, and that we were going to need to move Spirit to a different house. Fast forward to about 2014, Larry Lee, who was an Associate Vice President of Student Affairs for Operations, and Tom Cooley joined the Carnegie Mellon community, and one of the first things that they took up was a set of questions about the facility, and ultimately another study was done, and a viable financial plan was created in order to be able to refurbish and renovate the facility. And so that has brought us here today for this rededication ceremony. So I want to take just a moment to thank some of the specific people who were involved in this project over the course of the past several years. From Housing Services, Tom Cooley, Lewis McCauley, Cliff Stanford, and Mark Connolly. From Facility Management and Campus Services, Shane Schmidt and Joe Bagno, and the many various tradespeople working in FMCS who contributed to this project. From the cable plant, Joe Cambrest. Our architect was Graves Design Group. From CDFD, Brendan Garrison was the project manager, and Andrew Riley assisted with the project as well. And then our contractors were Allegheny Construction Group, Fallon Electric, Heritage Mechanical, Mannion Plumbing, and Eisler Landscaping. As I said, for all of these people, this project was a labor of love, and they put 110% into it, as I'm sure you'll see when we start the tours in a few minutes. So please join me in giving a big round of applause to these guys. Okay, now for the current students that are living in Spirit, it may come as a surprise that the work is not quite done, but is about to be, because there are two things that need to be added to Spirit House. And so I invite Louis McCauley up to the podium to assist with presenting and unveiling those.
If anyone remembers the front porch, as you notice, because of code, they had to open it up, but this was on the brick. Instead of totally just making it disappear and destroy, we took a picture of it and decided that we would get it framed and have it put back in the house to preserve, you know, that piece of work that was there.
Yay, thank you so much.
Well, and when we looked at that original piece of work, we couldn't tell if it was art inside of it, was a deterioration. So I had an architecture student that worked here work this out, and this is what they came up with, and we shared it with some of the Spirit members this summer to see if it was okay to add this, but this is the new and improved version of that piece of artwork. And so both of these are going to go in a house. We'll hope to be there for many, many years.
So at this time now, I get to transition into two individuals who I consider to be, from a Carnegie Mellon perspective, there's a campaign on Facebook called Because of Them We Can. Because of Them We Can. And when I think about the two gentlemen who will be coming forward to bring words of encouragement to our students, I can't think more of a campaign that for us at Carnegie Mellon and Spirit, because of them we can. So at this time, I'd like to first invite Mr. Bill James, President of the Carnegie Mellon Black Alumni Association, to come forward to give remarks. And then at that time, he will be followed by Mr. Franklin Duck Jr., Mr. Frank, as what students like to call him when we see him on campus, to bring a message of Spirit's legacy. And in many ways, the Because of Them We Can is really about educating and connecting a new generation to heroes who paved the way. And it's important for those heroes who paved the way. And the words pave the way are very important, because when you go into Spirit House following, you will find it was important today for us to begin to ensure that our students know the names of the heroes who've paved the way. And here's a listing from a plaque for those who were what I like to call the originators of Spirit House, to ensure that these names are remembered by our students and for those who are coming in the future. And so at this time, one of our heroes, Mr. Bill James, the floor is yours.
And we don't need percussion because my heart is beating fast and irregular. And it's out of excitement, it's out of joy, it's out of pleasure. When we think about history and legacy, often we think it's something that's way back there. When I was your ages, you college students, it seemed that a man my age was a very old man. Now, as I look around the room and I see us connected, I am so excited. And the regular heartbeat is a constant reminder that we do live on. I was a part of that community of people who heard that the house was not fit to live in. And we were saddened that we had to change locations. We were very sad about that. In fact, we were told there was nothing that could be done to restore the house to a safe place. So the second time they came and they said, well, you know, the house is ready, the students can move back in. And Charnel and I said, you said it was not safe. And we asked, and they studied, and they did everything that they could to bring it back to prominence. Now that's physical space. But in Greek mythology, we like to talk about the phoenix bird, that when it seemed as if it had fallen into the ashes and it was completely gone, it rose in a new splendor. It rose to spread its wings. And we're so excited that the early beginnings of the Spirit House were not diminished. They took a rest, they took a pause, but we rise again, and we challenge you young people to make this version of Spirit House, this era of Spirit House, this generation of Spirit House so great that years from now, a group of people will be gathered here to say, march on, march on. Let the heart beat move on, because we are the ones who survive and press forward. And I'm so excited that you get a chance to hear from one of my favorite people. Donna, I know that it is a pleasure and a treasure of work to keep up with this young man right here, because his heart has been in the work. His heart truly has been in the work. Mr. Doug.
I'd like to ask my wife to come up, please.
That's right. That's right.
I met Donna at Carnegie Mellon. I would first like to thank the Lord for all the opportunities I've had all my life. I would like to thank my wife, Donna, for being my partner, my friend, and all things that she can be for me, and allowing me to be me. I'd like to thank my son, our son Preston, and our daughter Chanel for surprising me yesterday and coming in.
Awesome.
During the 1969 school year, my first year here at Carnegie Mellon, I'm still a little nervous here. I'm not as good as these other people.
Yes, you are.
I'm just joking. Okay. My first year at Carnegie Mellon was 1969. I was in the second class of the Carnegie Mellon Action Project. During the year 1969, the African American males lived on the 5th floor of E Tower in Moore Gardens. It was a great experience for me. My second year, I was a dorm counselor. I started thinking about an African American house on campus. The university was going through a building program. The goal was to centralize facilities and fraternities. Through this process, space became available. I approached and suggested to the housing department a co-ed dorm for the Spirit Organization. The Spirit Organization was named by the first class of CMAP and graduate students during the 1969 school year. There were 5 locations to choose from. I visited all 5 of them. Beta Sigma Rho House was the best location for Spirit House. The first co-ed members of Spirit House, the group, I'm gonna name them. It opened in 1973. And it's in alphabetical order. Tanya Allman, Eddie Bullock, Elise Carrington, R.F. Duck Jr., Pearl Fletcher, Harry Gatewood, Don Bay Gordon, Phil Neely, Agatha Marshall, Tony McKay, Rita Robinson, and Diallo Scott.
I remember.
The house was an activity center. Meetings, buggy buildings, spring carnival booths were created at Spirit House. Social events, parties, meetings for clubs, fraternities, sororities, and other groups, along with meals prepared for the house members and their guests. The house was a community center where people gathered, and it was a home away from home. My fondest memory of Spirit House was after a war concert. The war was at the Syria Mosque. We advertised that Cisco and Poncho would appear at the house. So, okay. So basically, with music playing, the Cisco Kid was a friend of mine. Diallo Scott and I came in with cap guns blazing. So all I'm trying to tell you is that we had a good time. And I would like to thank all those here now and all those who ever walked the halls of Spirit House and the university for this event today. And I would also like to acknowledge the fact that everything that I ever came up with or thought about happened at Spirit House. And I'd like to thank everybody who ever helped me do anything that I've ever done. And I'd like to thank everybody again here, and have a good evening, and thank you very much.
That's right.
So at this time, we have one final element of presentation, and I'm going to invite Mellon College of Science student Peter Ridley to come forward as a representative of our current student. Woo!
Hello, guys. Thank you everybody who showed up, alumni, faculty, current students, all of Spirit. I wrote this piece over the summer, a spoken word piece, out of a lot of anger, hate, and frustration that came out of me when I read number 45's remarks against both white people and black people being at wrong during the Charlottesville attack that occurred. I was really, really pissed off about that. But even though it's been months since then, I feel like the piece that I wrote can still be applied to us on a day-to-day basis, seeing as nothing's really changed. So I hope you guys enjoy this piece. My people already broke. We already hungry. We come from the bottom. We live in the projects. We come from homes filled with rats and cockroaches. Schools filled with guns and drugs and violence. Mothers and fathers who bury their loved ones, their young ones, with tears enough to fill the world's oceans. Brothers and sisters with pain so deep in their hearts that they themselves will never understand it. We come from a place where our souls rejoice when another person is released from the chains that the world put on him. And we come from a place where our souls rejoice, we come from a place where we cry and mourn when another's freedom is taken away. I feel the pain when I look into my brother's eyes and know that I can do nothing to stop him from feeling so angry and lost. I feel the pain when I hear the youth speak of taking a life as if it won't take a part of their soul. I know there's a brighter day, I know it. But the darkness of the hour we live in removes all light of a bright future from our hearts. We struggle every single day to uplift our people from the bottom, to send our youth to schools where they may be able to change the world's perception of them, and to convince the white man that we are not the villains that he makes us out to be. We try, and we try, and we try to fight to prove that the color of our skin does not determine what kind of person we are. But every time we attempt to uplift ourselves from the bottom, they throw us back down into the dirt, as if that is where we belong. We do what we can to change our fates and to make it so that one day, the concept of a black man succeeding in America is not so foreign. And we do what we can to make it so that our children will live lives where hate and racism do not exist for our people. They told us multiple times in the past that now you will be treated like a human. And yet every time I watch the news, another young man's life is taken away by an officer who felt that his life was worth more than my brother's. You cannot chain us down like we are wild animals and tell us that we are the ones who are wrong. You cannot look us in our eyes and tell us that we are more angry and violent than those who hold hate in their hearts towards someone merely because of their skin or their religion. You put us in the positions that we are in now. You took away our schools, and you took away our libraries, and you gave us guns and drugs and liquor. And now you want to tell us that we are the bad ones and that we're the ones who are wrong? I ask you, if the tables were turned, do you think that you would be able to push through all the suffering that my people have went through? Do you think that you would accept that your life meant nothing to someone merely because of the color of your skin? Do you think that you would not rise up and fight against those who oppress you? So why do you expect me to? Thank you.
So at this time, I want to give a couple of thank yous, and then we're going to actually begin our ribbon cutting and house tours. As John has stated, Housing Services seeks to create a residential experience that supports a positive transition to college life and foster independence and personal growth while providing students with opportunities for meaningful community connections. It is without a doubt that vision of Housing Services really is embodied by their staff, and more so for me, Tom Cooley, who could not be present. I have to say his name again because Tom has been instrumental and an advocate and partner with Spirit House. And I look forward to Tom being a part of a spring event in which all of you will come back, I hope, for Spring Carnival, where you'll get to meet Tom in another opportunity with Spirit. Also today would not have happened without the support of Mandy Simple. Mandy, raise your hand. Sarah Marshalick, who could not be present here, as well as Sarah Paletti. I'm going to have Lewis raise his hand again because Lewis McCauley and our facilities coordinator, Cliff Stanton, are instrumental in ensuring that Spirit House continues to move forward as the prominent space within the campus community. Also at this time, it's important to acknowledge the team from the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. If you're present, I'd like for you to raise your hands as well if you're in the audience. And I also think it's very important to acknowledge during the time in which we were knowing that the house was going to happen, Jonathan Reynolds and I met with Tom Cooley and others to ensure this transition happened, so it's very important as well to acknowledge Jonathan Reynolds. I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge that Facilities Management Services the Cohen University Center and Marsha Gerwin, as well as our Aramark, our custodial services staff, are instrumental in not just today's event, but ensuring that our students' lives, that within those facilities, that they're able to do and learn well here at Carnegie Mellon while ensuring that their living experience is at its best. And it's important to acknowledge them as well. So at this time, I will just read two lines from this Spirit song from Kamal Ibrahim. And Kamal's someone very important to me because when I first came here to Carnegie Mellon, Kamal and I had like a year-long conversation about what it means to have living legacies. And for about 6 months, we went back and forth and saying, what is living legacies? And when I think about today, and I think about Spirit House, and I think about the names on the back of that shirt, Kamal and I actually, at that time, I was able with him to bring Ernest Green from the Little Rock Nine to Carnegie Mellon. And I'm a native of Arkansas. I'm a days-based scholar. And this year is the 60th anniversary of the integration of Central High School. Wow. 60 years. And so when I think about these kinds of conversations, and I think about the importance of students here at Carnegie Mellon of all walks of life, meeting alumni of the stature of those who are in this space, your living legacy will carry forth because 30 years from now, 50 years from now, these particular students that you're meeting here today will absolutely be paying it forward to other students who will be here at Carnegie Mellon. So, I'm going to choose 2 lines from this. And what 2 lines I'm going to choose is, it is the youth and the energy that uplift the days. And without it, we will never feel the warm sun rays. So be proud of your song and sing it loud so I can hear it. Please wake up what's underground. Let them come to the surface because it will be perfect. Thank you for what can only be considered for me a perfect conversation this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming and supporting our students and being here. And I want to see more alumni, especially those who are local. However we can make a connection to you and bring you forth to the campus community, please let us know. So,